What if I told you that the commercial chicken feed industry is built on one assumption, that you need them? Because here's the thing. For thousands of years, before bag pellets existed, before feed stores, before any of it, chickens foraged. They scratched, they ate, and they thrived, completely free. And somewhere along the way, we forgot that. Today I'm going to show you 10 plants that grow back every single year, cost you absolutely nothing after the first planting, and could dramatically cut, or even replace, your chicken feed bill. Some of these you've probably already got growing in your yard right now, and you've been pulling them out. We're going to fix that today. And if you're someone who values a garden that actually works for you, less money spent, less effort, more results, subscribe to Serene Green Gardens. That's exactly what we're about here. Now, before we get into the list, I want to say something that most videos like this skip over. Not every chicken will eat every plant on day one. Some flocks need a little time to figure out what's food. So if you introduce something new and they ignore it first, don't panic. That's normal. Dry it, wilt it, chop it, and mix it in. They'll come around. Okay, let's get into it. Starting with number 10. Plant number 10, nasturtium. If you've ever spent money on commercial dewormers for your flock and wondered if there's a more natural approach, nasturtium might become your new best friend. Here's what most people don't realize about this plant. It's not just a pretty flower. Every single part of nasturtium, the leaves, the flowers, the seeds, is edible to chickens. And it contains compounds that have been studied for their natural antiparasitic properties. You're essentially growing a medicine cabinet alongside your feed supply. Picture this, a sprawling patch of orange and yellow flowers along your fence line. Your chickens pecking at the leaves, eating seeds off the ground. $0 spent. 0 trips to the feed store. Nasturtiums are incredibly easy to grow. They actually prefer poor soil, which means you don't need to fuss over them. They thrive in zones 2 through 11 as an annual. But in warmer climates, they'll reseed themselves so aggressively, they practically become perennial. Plant seeds directly in the ground after your last frost, give them full sun or partial shade, and honestly, just let them go. The more you ignore them, the better they do. And here's the community question for this one. Have you ever noticed your chickens self-selecting medicinal plants in your garden? Drop that in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what people are seeing out there. Plant number 9, dandelion. I know what you're thinking. Dandelions? Really? Stay with me. Dandelions are one of the most nutritionally complete plants your chickens can eat. Higher in beta-carotene than carrots. More calcium than milk, gram for gram. Rich in vitamins A, C, and K. And your chickens? They go absolutely crazy for them. The best part, you probably already have an unlimited supply, and you've been treating it like a problem. Here's the part nobody tells you. Dandelions are one of the few plants where the entire thing is useful. Leaves, flowers, roots, stems. Chickens will eat all of it. And because dandelions spread by both root and seed, once you stop fighting them and start cultivating them in a dedicated patch, they've basically managed themselves forever. No planting cost, no watering schedule, no special soil. They exist in every growing zone in the United States. They come back every spring without you doing a single thing. If you're spending money on feed supplements for egg yolk color, deep orange yolks from healthy pasture-raised hens, dandelion greens are a major reason some backyard flocks produce those beautiful eggs that look nothing like what you buy at the grocery store. Start thinking of dandelions as a crop, because that's exactly what they are. Plant number 8, lamb's quartus. This one surprises people every time. Lamb's quartus, sometimes called wild spinach, is a plant most gardeners yank out of their beds without a second thought. But nutritionally, it rivals spinach and kale. It's loaded with protein, calcium, and vitamins. And chickens love it. Here's where it gets interesting. Lamb's quartus is what's called a nutritional accumulator. Its roots pull minerals out of the subsoil that most plants can't access. So when your chickens eat it, they're getting a mineral profile that commercial feed honestly struggles to replicate. It grows as a summer annual in most zones, but it reseeds so prolifically that once you have it established, it returns every year without any effort from you. It's essentially a self-maintaining crop, grows in full sun, tolerates poor soil, handles dry conditions well. Let one or two plants go to seed every year, and you will never be without lamb's quarters again. Ever. Now, the first 3 plants we've covered are great. But I want to pause here for a second, because the next 7 are where things start getting genuinely surprising. We're moving from plants that supplement feed to plants that can meaningfully replace significant portions of it. And one plant coming up later in this list, I'll just say this now, grows on water, requires no soil whatsoever, and produces more protein per pound than almost any other plant on Earth. Keep watching. We're getting there. Plant number 7, stinging nettle. Before you scroll past this one, hear me out. Stinging nettle has a reputation problem. Yes, it stings when raw, but dried, wilted, or cooked, the sting completely disappears. And what you're left with is one of the most protein-dense plant feeds you can grow for your flock. Stinging nettle runs around 25 to 30% protein by dry weight. To put that in perspective, commercial chicken feed typically runs 16 to 18%. You're growing something that outperforms what you're paying for. Nettle also spreads by underground rhizome, which means once it's established, it comes back harder and thicker every single year. Grow it in a contained bed if you're worried about it spreading. Full sun to partial shade. Moist soil, zones 3 through 10. Just harvest by cutting the tops, hang them dry for a day or 2, and toss them into your run. Your chickens will absolutely clean it up. And here's a bonus most people miss entirely. Dried nettle is also one of the best natural soil amendments you can make. Steep the leaves in water for 2 weeks, and you've got a nitrogen-rich liquid fertilizer for the rest of your garden. Your feed patch becomes its own fertilizer factory. That loop, chickens eat the plants, their manure enriches the soil grows better plants. Once you see it, you start designing your whole setup around it. Plant number 6, purslane. Purslane is another one of those plants that gets pulled as a weed constantly, and it genuinely shouldn't be. It holds a record most people don't know about. Purslane has the highest concentration of omega-3 fatty acids of any land plant ever studied. That's not a small thing. Omega-3s are exactly what you're paying a premium for in those omega-3 enriched eggs at the grocery store. When your chickens eat purslane regularly, those fatty acids show up directly in their eggs. You're not just cutting feed costs. You're actively improving the nutritional quality of every egg your flock produces. That's a real, meaningful benefit. Purslane is a low-growing succulent that loves hot, dry conditions and poor soil. It technically grows as a summer annual, but it reseeds itself so freely that it functions like a perennial in most gardens. Once you have it, you have it. If you want to encourage it, just let a few plants go to seed before pulling. Within 2 seasons, you'll have far more than you ever need. Plant number 5, comfrey. Okay, comfrey. This is a big one. If there's one plant on this entire list that homesteaders and experienced chicken keepers talk about more than any other, it's comfrey. And for good reason. Comfrey is what's called a dynamic accumulator. Its taproot goes down 4 to 6 feet into the soil, pulling up potassium, phosphorus, calcium, and trace minerals from deep underground. When your chickens eat the leaves, they're getting a mineral profile that surface-grown plants simply can't offer. Here's the thing, though, and this is the part that most videos get wrong. Fresh comfrey is high in an alkaloid called pyrrolizidine, which in very large quantities isn't ideal for chickens. So the smart move is to wilt it before feeding. Cut the leaves, lay them in the sun for a couple of hours, then toss them in. Wilting reduces that compound significantly, and chickens actually prefer it wilted anyway. One comfrey plant can produce up to 2 to 3 pounds of leaf biomass every 4 to 6 weeks throughout the growing season. It's essentially a self-replenishing feed machine that gets established in year 1 and then runs itself indefinitely. Zones 3 through 9. Partial shade to full sun. Once it's in the ground, it's there permanently. Comfrey roots go so deep that removing it entirely is nearly impossible. Plant it where you want it. That permanence is exactly what makes it so valuable. You plant it once. You never plant it again. And it feeds your flock every year for the rest of your life. And this is actually where I want to stop and say something directly. You probably spent real money this year on chicken feed. Most people have. Prices are up. They've been up. And there's no sign of that reversing. What these plants represent isn't just a gardening tip. It's a genuine shift in how your homestead functions. A move from dependency towards something more self-sufficient. The next 4 plants are where that shift gets dramatic. Plant number 4, mulberry tree. If you have space for one tree, just one, and you keep chickens, plant a mulberry. Here's why this is in the top 4. A mature mulberry tree doesn't produce a handful of berries. It produces hundreds of pounds of fruit over a 6 to 8 week season. The berries drop to the ground naturally. Your chickens eat them off the ground. You do nothing. Not only that, mulberry leaves are edible to chickens too. High in protein, digestible, palatable. The silkworm industry in Asia has been built around mulberry leaves for centuries because of how nutritionally rich they are. Mulberry trees grow in zones 4 through 8, establish quickly compared to most fruit trees, and tolerate a wide range of soil conditions. They produce within 2 to 3 years of planting. And from that point forward, they produce more every single year for decades. There's something genuinely satisfying about walking outside in early summer and watching your flock work underneath a mulberry tree. Completely self-sufficient, completely happy. No scooping feet, no holding bucks. Just a tree doing what it was going to do anyway. Plant one this fall. Your future self will thank you. Plant number 3, black soldier fly host plants / sunflowers. This one comes with a twist. Sunflowers themselves are a valuable chicken feed. The seeds are high in fat and protein. Chickens eat them directly off the head, and they're incredibly easy to grow. Plant, grow, harvest, or just let your chickens reach the heads themselves when they droop and fall. But here's the part most people completely miss. Sunflowers attract black soldier fly larvae, one of the highest protein insects in nature, running around 40% protein, when the stalks begin to decompose. If you manage a small BSF compost bin near your garden and feed it kitchen scraps, you've essentially created a live protein factory. The larvae are free, they self-harvest, and your chickens will lose their minds over them. Combined, sunflowers plus black soldier fly management can offset a significant portion of your protein requirements, the one nutrient that's hardest to source from plants alone. That protein problem we talked about earlier, this is one of the best solutions to it. Sunflowers grow in virtually every zone in the United States. Full sun, deep watering, well-drained soil. They reseed readily if you let the heads sit. One packet of seeds in year 1 can become a self-sustaining patch by year 3. Plant number 2, moringa. For those of you in zones 9 through 11, or anyone willing to grow this in containers and overwinter it indoors, moringa might be the most remarkable plant on this entire list. It's called the miracle tree in many parts of the world. Not as marketing, as fact. Moringa leaves contain complete protein, meaning all 9 essential amino acids. They have more calcium than milk, more potassium than bananas, more vitamin C than oranges. Nutritionally, it reads like something someone invented in a lab. But it's a tree. A fast-growing tree that you can propagate from cuttings for free, indefinitely. Here's what makes it extraordinary for chicken keepers. Moringa can be cut back aggressively, a practice called coppicing, and it regrows from the base rapidly. In warm climates, you can harvest fresh leaves every 4 to 6 weeks throughout the year. Dried and ground, moringa leaf powder can be mixed in a feed to boost nutrition without purchasing anything. In tropical and subtropical zones, this tree practically grows itself. In cooler climates, grow it in a large pot, bring it in before frost, cut it back, and it will flush with new growth in spring. It's manageable. It's worth it. One moringa tree, propagated into 10, propagated from cuttings into 50. At that scale, you have a living feed system that costs you nothing to maintain and gives you complete protein year after year. Plant number 1, duckweed. And here we are. Number 1. I saved this for last because when I first learned what duckweed actually is, nutritionally, it genuinely changed how I thought about feeding chickens. Duckweed is a tiny aquatic plant. It floats on the surface of still or slow-moving water. It looks almost like green confetti. And pound for pound, it contains more protein than soybeans. Around 35 to 45% protein by dry weight. Most commercial chicken feed is built around soy as its primary protein source. Duckweed exceeds that, and it doubles in mass roughly every 24 to 48 hours under the right conditions. Think about what that means. A small pond, a stock tank, a kiddie pool in the backyard. Any still water surface becomes a protein farm that essentially runs itself. Feed it a little nitrogen source like diluted chicken manure from your own coop, and it grows even faster. Your chickens are fertilizing their own feed supply. That loop again. Duckweed thrives in full sun with temperatures between 50 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit. It overwinters indoors in a simple container under a grow light if you're in a cold climate. It requires no soil, no planting, no real maintenance beyond harvesting. Scoop it out, let it drain for a minute, toss it to your flock. That's the entire process. You can source your first starter culture from a local pond, from a fellow homesteader, or inexpensively online. After that, you never buy it again. It reproduces endlessly. Of all 10 plants on this list, duckweed is the one I'd tell you to prioritize first if you have any water source available at all. The return is almost immediate. The learning curve is almost non-existent. And the protein it delivers is genuinely competitive with commercial feed. So there they are. 10 plants that your chickens can eat, that grow back on their own, and that costs you nothing after the first season. Now, I want to be honest with you. You don't need all 10. Start with 2 or 3 that make sense for your climate, your space, your setup. Dandelions and nasturtiums if you're just getting started. Comfrey and duckweed if you're ready to get serious. Morena if you're in a warm climate and want the biggest nutritional punch possible. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is momentum. 1 plant this season becomes 3 next season. 3 becomes 7. And before long, your feed bill starts to genuinely shrink. Not because you're cutting corners, but because you built something that works for you. That's what smart, self-sufficient gardeners do. They build systems, not just gardens. If you found this useful, and I really hope you did, share it with someone else who keeps chickens. Because this is the kind of information that's genuinely worth passing on. And if you want to take this further, because there's a lot more to building a productive, low-cost garden that supports your whole homestead, the next video you should watch is linked right now. It covers the companion planting combinations that make these plants grow faster, produce more, and work together in ways that will honestly surprise you. Your next breakthrough is 1 click away. I'll see you there.